Well, I want to ask you a little bit about your own story, your own journey through. I know you've had multiple internships. I think some of them were paid and some of them were unpaid. And then of course, you're graduating, I think, in May, right? This
Yep,
coming
that's correct.
2022. And so you're moving into into your career. But how did that journey go for you in terms of the kind of the how and the when did you start navigating internships?
Yeah, so I was originally interested in real estate actually, and then kind of found out about kind of private equity and investment banking from that, kind of the company side. Got really interested in how in depth you go with companies. So I was like, okay, yeah, investment banking is what I'm going to do. I like the challenge of it, highly competitive career to get into. So that was sophomore semester, my first sophomore semester here at UT. That fall, I knew that it was very accelerated. So I started just applying to probably like 50 to 100 different internships, just trying to get some kind of experience. I was able to get a internship with a PE firm as well as a equity research position with like a wealth management firm. So I was able to do that my sophomore year during
That was
school.
during the school
Yeah,
year.
during the school
Okay.
year. So I did that kind of from January on through. I actually did those two internships kind of throughout all of 2020, which was my spring semester of my sophomore year into my junior year.
Okay, so
Um,
that would have been the first COVID summer. Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so
They were
did you
all
do that from
virtual.
yeah, you did that from somebody's basement somewhere?
Yep, yep.
It's interesting how as many things were shut down, there were a lot of opportunities that were actually opened up because
Yeah.
of that. And I mean, the world got really, really flat, really, really fast.
Yeah, it was definitely, it definitely has opened up doors. I know people that have gotten internships from companies that used to never recruit from
Yeah.
the East Coast, and now they can because of all the virtual technology we have now and how easy it is to do a lot of that. So it's opened up a lot of opportunities, especially for people, like at UT, we're not necessarily centered right around a city that we can, drive to 10
Right.
minutes that has a lot of these opportunities. So it's actually been, somewhat of a blessing, I guess you could say, to have the opportunity to go to a
Yeah.
lot of places virtually.
Yeah. Well, I want to back up just a minute because there's a step that you just kind of glossed over that I think a lot of folks really would like to understand a little bit better. You said you applied for, and this is probably not the exact number, but you said you applied to 50 to 100
Mhm.
internships, and this was while you were a sophomore. I think one of the questions that many of our students would actually have is, well, where did you find these 50 to 100? How did you locate them? And then how did you apply for them? So can you talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so one of the first places I looked was Handshake. So applied to a lot of stuff on there. The application process is very smooth on there, so that was easy to kind of get the numbers up. But kind of in addition to that, I did a lot of LinkedIn searches for things. So I did a lot of applications through that, and then started to like actually reach out to people that were on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And that was really like that is ultimately what allowed me to kind of get one of my internships, or actually both of my internships were actually because I was actually getting on the phone with these people like, hey, I really am interested in this.
So
And
these
it
were
was,
cold. I mean, so basically cold
yeah,
calls.
yeah. That's really critical, is like that networking piece, just like reaching out to people and
Mhm.
you're interested in. And that'll open up more doors than you can imagine. And it's much more valuable than just blindly hitting, apply to all these internships. Like I probably could have not applied to nearly as many, save some time on that, and really
Mhm.
focus down on, doing really good networking in the industries that, I'm looking to break into.
Well, I think some people may hear that and get kind of frustrated and think, well, so the only way I can succeed is if I just go and try to find it myself because I'd really like to have things handed to me. But I think in the grand scheme of things, that's actually the job that you're applying for because those the reaching out, the cold calling, the taking initiative, that's part of the actual job that
Mhm.
you would be doing. And so what better way to start than in the in the recruitment and interview process?
Yeah. It also differentiates you a lot because they're getting, 100 of these applications or more for each job opening, but maybe one or two people actually take the time to like write and be like, hey, I'm really interested in this opportunity, or
Right.
to just hear about your career story. And that leads to like a lot of opportunities just because you're putting yourself in a much smaller pool by doing that. So instead of choosing from 100 people, they're choosing from two or three that actually did that.
Yeah. So that was your sophomore through your sophomore year, and then the following summer, and then last
Mhm.
year was your junior year. So did you have anything going on during the school year, or was it not until the summer? What happened that year?
Yeah, so my junior year, I did a internship with a bank, kind of in a non-investment banking role, kind of between my sophomore and junior year. In addition, so was doing like three internships throughout that summer, which was a lot. But
Mhm.
my junior year, I had some overlap with some of my internships I'd gotten in my sophomore year. So like the PE firm I worked for, we closed the deal I've been working on all year in October, November timeframe. Um, so that kind of concluded that. And then after I kind of rolled off all of that, I had been going through the recruiting process for my junior summer, which I just completed this past, like, I guess, 2 weeks ago. Um, and uh, I was able to get that kind of as those were ending. So most of my junior year, I didn't have an actual internship. I was actually doing, and I was doing a lot of university stuff. And that's really where I upped my involvement in the university and
Mhm.
it gotten
Thank
growth
you, by the way. Thank
through
you on behalf
organizations.
of lots of folks. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was a fun experience. And it was kind of like once I kind of got my career stuff kind of settled down, I was able to kind of refocus onto like university stuff that I've
Yeah.
had a blast doing. And that's kind of my plan for this year now that I kind of have things figured out after graduation, is just kind of put all my focus on the university and being involved.
Yeah, so it's talking to people. It doesn't seem at all uncommon for folks to have an internship the summer before their senior year, and then get a full time
Mhm.
offer, and then have their entire senior year just sitting on that offer, and they have all
Yeah.
sorts of opportunities to relax and like you, sometimes they choose to begin giving back already, and so I think it's awesome that you have so much time and energy this year to really start thinking about the next generation of
Yeah.
students
I've
behind you.
decided I like to be busy.
Well, I think that's what you're going to get in your career. So
Yep.
consider this practice. But I'm super happy for you, super excited for you. One other thing that I wanted to ask you about today. So you have been instrumental in a podcast. Uh, Kind of sort of like what I'm doing, but kind of different, really, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm really kind of getting a good spattering of people in different careers, and yours is a lot more. It seems like about story and just
Mhm.
hearing really inspiring stories. And so I've listened to a couple of these, and they're great. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this was actually the product of me securing an internship offer. So I secured my internship offer, and then all of a sudden I had all this free time, and it was the middle of COVID, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this time I have now? And I've always listened to podcasts. I've always liked podcasts and everything. So I was like, why don't we just start a podcast with the university? So that's kind of the origin story of what's called Project Inspire, a Haslam interview series. It's been really a great time to produce, and the goal behind it is inspire people and make them realize what the opportunities are kind of after you graduate, where are alumni at now, and the world is really your oyster, and the people we have on our podcast are really living proof of that.
Mhm.
Of you can go build, we've had Mr. Haslam on, who built Pilot, who I'm sure many people know what that is. So kind of hearing his story, how he went through, and really just having an enjoyable experience, and also learning a ton of life lessons in the process.
Yeah. So who's so I know that I think you've got a few in the queue right now that you're going to be rolling out this semester. So who do we have to look forward to?
Yeah, so the next one that'll be released will be Randy Boyd, who's the president of the university, as I'm sure many people know. So he'll be releasing that first week of September, I think it's September 6th, I believe, is a Monday. So excited for that release. And we have a new host for that one. So a part of the thing on the podcast is something that's sustainable that hopefully will be at the university for years to come. So the host actually switches off every semester. So we have a new host this semester. We'll have a different host in the spring. So that's another opportunity to kind of get involved with the university. It kind of opens up, if you're interested in podcasts and stuff, something that you could, potentially host that podcast for a semester while you're here at UT. And I think that's an exciting opportunity, for anybody who's interested in the space as well.
Yeah. Well, this is outstanding. So, Devin, it was nice talking to you today. Thanks for your time. And to my students in particular who are watching this, if you want to learn more about any of this stuff, Devin understands what it's like to cold call people. So I encourage you to cold call Devin. Connect with him on LinkedIn. He's easy to find. So reach out to him. But again, thanks, Devin. I hope your semester goes well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love talking to people. So feel free to reach out. I always respond. And happy to grab coffee and chat.
All right. Thanks, Devin.